You talking to me?
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
Then who the hell else are you talking? You talking to me?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like a clown.
I'm Peter Venkman.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Man that doesn't spend time with his family will never be a real man.
Damn!
I'm kind of a big deal.
First rule of Fight Club is do not talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, baby!
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Welcome back. This is Frame by Frame.
Woo!
Andy. Andy. Andy.
That's Andy.
Yes.
That was his great entrance.
That was me. And there's Steven. Look at him.
Steven.
Go for it. Actually, you can't look at him. This is an audio medium, but you know.
Well, you never know. We might start going on Twitch and showing our beautiful faces on there. And
Is the world ready for that?
we were going to start out like that. But
we were, yeah.
Yeah, it was just very difficult to manage that and actually chat fluidly, I think, without...
Yeah, I'm thinking something we'll go back to.
I think we can get there.
Yeah.
So what's in the news?
Yeah, worry about that next week.
Yeah, we've just been having a discussion. Okay, we are going to start bringing in some current affairs related to film, and we will start to bring that back in.
Yeah, I had an idea. Just
it's a good idea.
5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, to just maybe we have like a little news segment at the beginning of these podcasts is to talk about what's going on in the movie world and things that might be worth discussing. And that I had the idea. Then we thought, can we do it now? No,
we can't do it right now. But we can probably just say, oh, Ridley Scott is writing Gladiator 3. Who cares? Or we can actually just say, let's stay current and talk about films from 1990.
Yeah, that's our thing, isn't it?
That's what we're doing. So
talk about films from 24 years ago.
But that's the beauty of it, because as a couple of months ago, Andy was watching U.S. Marshals.
Yeah.
And he's just remembering The Fugitive and remembering films that were cool in the 90s that nobody's actually ever really talking about.
Yeah.
And then we thought, let's just go year by year from 1990. We're going to pick 5 of our outstanding choices of from which we would hopefully want everybody to watch. It depends. Have we gone for the blockbusters top 5 that are in the or have we chosen stuff that we want each other to watch? We'll find out.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I think my 5 I've tried to go between obvious if you know me. Not obvious in certain respects, and just certain films that I really like, So yeah, nothing weirdly deep diving about my list. It's just I went through all the films I could find in 1990, and obviously my main thing is try not to pick horror films because that's always my go-to, and there's Maniac Cop 3 in there, I think, and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go with any of them. I don't want to talk about them. So,
Maniac.
We'll see what happens.
Maniac Cop 3. I didn't actually see that in the list, but yes, there are a few horror films. There's a few different things to kind of talk about.
Reanimated in there, isn't there?
And there's a couple of things that I've watched this last couple of weeks that I've never seen before, and I was actually really impressed with. So,
wow, okay. I look forward to hearing about that, whatever
Yeah.
it might be. We have no idea what we're about to talk about, listeners.
No. Oh, and it's kind of tricky to start. I mean, yeah. Shall we just take one at a time?
Yes.
And
Oh, bear in mind, at some point in this episode, there's a new segment, Jackie Chan Corner,
You know me. I'm Jackie Chan.
Welcome to the
Yes.
where I'll be talking about the Jackie Chan film from that year. Weirdly,
You know me. I'm Jackie Chan.
I had this idea to do this, and then 1990, pretty thin on the ground for Jackie Chan films.
Wow.
But anyway,
Weirdly enough, we have graphics for this, but I forgot
this is
it's a podcast. But
that's why we've got to do some media for it.
Yeah. I love creating videos, and you know me. But like I said, we might actually start putting this out on Twitch soon if we can get makeup and hairdressing and
Yeah, or maybe try and get this shine off the top of my bald head.
it's not shiny.
That's
It's
all
not
I
that
can
shiny
see.
actually. It's not that shiny.
It's very shiny. Come on, Stephen.
But my gosh, we are showing head. That's not good to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of forehead going on in this podcast.
Right, we're bound to duplicate, and that's okay because then we can, we'll get through this quicker.
I'm sure we will. I'm not sure that we will, to be honest, but let's go for it.
Oh, you reckon?
You
All
go
right.
first.
Okay, I'm going to go first with something that I know you haven't got in there. It's a bit of a cheat because it did come out at the festival in 1989, but it was not released in America or the UK until 1990.
It's your first pick and you're already breaking the rules, Stephen.
Oh, no. It's...
After the Holy Mountain and El Topo, a new film by Alejandro Jodorowsky, Santa Sangre.
No idea what that is.
Well, let me tell you. It is a... Right.
Morse code.
It's an Axel Jodorowsky is in it, but it's Alejandro Jodorowsky film. You probably know him well from such hits such as El Toro and the weird movies.
I love your list of one film. All the cheeses. Of all the cheeses.
El Toro.
Red Leicester.
The Holy Mountain. Come on, the Holy Mountain. Santa Sangre.
Oh, yeah.
He made 6 movies, and Alejandro Jodorowsky was also very famous for not making Dune. Because...
Oh! I don't know the name.
Now you know the name. Because there's a whole documentary about this film that was never made, and that was him. But Santa Sangre, it's a great coming of age story set in a circus environment. Not too sure whereabouts it is, if it's Italy or Brazil or Spain. It's not in English, and
right.
You see that would be useful information, but it's full of imagery in it, and I get a kick out of it every time I watch it. Let's just pull up some more information that's more concise. Yeah, I mean it's grotesque. I get that. It's a grotesque story, and it's a love story between the young boy and the girl who has makeup on constantly because she's always there, and there's kind of like a spiritual thing that goes on with them. They meet years later, and there's just a lot of blood, and there's also a dead elephant.
Naturally, it is the 90s.
It is the 90s, but it's just one of those. It's just one of those films that you have to see. It's a thriller horror, but it's kind of so much more. There's actually character development in this. There's like a husband and wife kind of situation. I don't think they're married. I think they're in the circus. I don't think they actually follow the rules of society. but they have
Obviously, the circus is why there's a dead elephant. It's a circus.
Yeah, there's a lot of viciousness going on, and there's like there's a lot of sexual imagery. There's violence. There's chopped limbs. It's great, but it's kind of a very realistic kind of film. It's not too crazy, but it kind of seems like you're in this kind of world of craziness and grotesque and circus freaks and all, which is not a good word. You can't use that anymore. But circus characters, and it just all kind of comes to this kind of crescendo of craziness, and it's all kind of through their point of view. It's hallucinatory. It's a very hallucinatory film, but then there's a kind of a huge reality check at the end, which I'm not going to spoil. That makes you kind of think, oh yes, this is actually it's not fantasy, it's reality. There's like a bit of a hit over the head with reality, very much so.
Up to that point, is it quite surreal?
Surreal, yeah. It likes to play on the surreal a lot, and there's, it's. I'm not selling it very well. It's a very difficult film to sell. International cinema is always hard to sell, but it is available on Blu-ray. It's a gorgeous orange disc on Blu-ray. If that's a selling point for anybody, you don't see the disc when it's playing, but what the heck. But yeah, I featured it in my book Instance. It was kind of used in Instance because of the masks that were used in the film, and in fact, the longest chapter in my book is pretty much about Santa Sangre and how it affects the students on this one day of watching it twice, and then letting it seep into their lives. But it's it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's emotional. That you do feel. It very rare in these kind of films do you actually feel anything. It's like characters are just there, just doing grotesque things, and that's it. But you do. There is a lot of heart in this movie, so recommend it. It's probably one of my favorite films of 1990. In fact, that would be at the top of my list for sure.
Really, like number one?
Yeah, I'd say. I'm going straight in. Yeah. It's one of my.
You've got a very smug look on your face now, Stephen. I think you've just won the list already.
It's a lot.
Straight out of the bag.
Okay, Andy, hit it out with your first, man.
Okay, well, from very highbrow cinema that Stephen just talked about, I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go for what could have been.
It's radio, but I'm doing a baseball.
Sort of a B-movie. Aesthetic, everything about it's B-movie, but end up being a big hit. My number one is Tremors.
Tremors.
Perfection. A scorched outpost in the middle of nowhere.
You know how close I am to leaving this place right now? How close?
Maybe that's why Val and Earl decided to leave town.
Hey, hold up. That's Edgar Dean's.
They just picked the wrong day to do it.
Jeez. You guys better get the hell out of here. There's a killer on the loose.
Who could be doing it?
Is that a snake?
I'll give you boys $5 for this.
20.
That's how they get you. They're under the ground. What the hell are those things? How could they eat a whole station wagon?
But where do they come from?
I vote for outer space. No way these are local boys.
You see, they're headed right for us.
No Richter scale can measure it.
They're coming!
No scientist can explain it.
Bert, they're under the ground.
You didn't get penetration even with the elephant gun.
Run, run!
And no one knows what to call it.
Megaworms or suckers or suckoids. Now, this valley is just one long smorgasbord.
Now, it's up to Val and Earl to save the world.
That's one big mother.
Who died and made you Einstein?
And they know just what to do. Flip for it.
Damn.
Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Tremors.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, other people.
Other people were in it, yes.
So this film got released on. We got Sky TV, and it probably would have been. It got released in 1990, but it would have been later since we watched it. Because remember, back in the 90s, it took a long time for us to get the films in this country.
It did, yeah. Oh, this is the thing about the 90s. You really felt as though cinema was cinema, and
So this film for me is steeped in nostalgia of me being a kid, getting Sky TV. This was back when we had Sky TV, but there was adverts in the films still. And this thing called Tremors. Well, so stick it on, watch it.
Yeah.
And do you remember we used to be able to record onto videotape these films and watch them over and over again? I love this film and watched it again recently, and it still holds up. It's funny. It's, it's got heart in it. It's, I love it. I think it's a great film. If you don't know, it's about a small town in sort of middle America, isn't it? It's just basically in the desert.
Yeah, kind of
There's
Arizona kind of.
There's only like a few dozen people live in this town. And there's like a student who's doing sort of seismic experiments, and they unleashed these big, what you imagine to be like prehistoric underground worms that have been laid dormant for centuries, possibly thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it just turns into like a kind of, it's got a B-movie aesthetic. It's got, like Alligator, all those kind of films. It's got that feel to it. But it's funny and it's got
plausible. They play it as though it's plausible, and that's the.
Yeah, and I know, like, when I was reading a few interviews, like Kevin Bacon was speaking to his girlfriend at the time and saying, "Oh my God, I'm making a film about giant worms under the ground," But it ended up being his breakthrough film.
Was it?
People took notice of it because he's so good in it. It's such a good film. He's sort of like the hero in it, but it never loses that comedic sensibility. And I think it's a really good film that still holds up to this day. I really do. I think it's just such a good fun film.
It is sharp.
Maybe not as highbrow as what you just come up with.
No. But it's not about highbrow. It's about cinema. It's what you go and see, and this exactly, and it's how connected to Dune could it be though? I mean, you got sandworms, desert.
Absolutely, yeah, that's it. It must have really. The idea, the beginning of that idea must have come from Dune.
A lot of tension when they're jumping over the rocks and they're trying not to make sound. It's kind of like,
the pole vaulting and that. It's got this, like, it's got a disaster movie sort of aesthetic to it, because the disaster movies always start where it's mundane, and then little things start to go wrong, and then it just builds to the big thing going wrong, and then how they deal with the big thing that goes wrong.
That's it.
There's a thing that always, there's a through line to all these disaster films, and it's a thing that works. And Tremors do the same thing.
Exactly.
But it's still hilarious. It's really funny. It's like, "Hey, Earl, I found the ass end." And when he's dug the whole worm up that's killed itself and stuff. And it's... and the actual worms themselves are quite grotesque with the things that comes out the mouth and grabs them, and obviously maybe taken out of Alien,
Yeah, things with teeth, but then you kind of think, well, what's it got to be? If it's underground, it's got to have something. It's got to be like a drill, literally. It's got to be able to plow through the earth pretty fast.
So, those little antennas things that pushes it through the
it's got
ground.
a thought. There is thought behind it, and I like that. It's
but it spawned an entire run of films, sequels. There must be like Tremors 5 million now, and I think there was a Tremors TV series, and there was these little, because they call them graboids. That's what they call them in the film, graboids. And they end up in some of the later films. There's these smaller little ones that are on land and walk around and got legs, that have evolved and that.
Oh, fantastic.
But you can't, you can't go wrong with this film. I think it's just absolute escapist fun. And I think it's like a quintessential 1990s film,
Perfect. Yeah, it is. It's a joy to watch. I do enjoy Tremors. That's a good one to have on the list. It was difficult to choose these films, isn't it? To kind of decide. There's so many good films.
Well, that was it, and I didn't want to go too obvious. I think at the end of this list, there's one film that we have to discuss because it's one of the greatest films of all time, and we'll just talk it about, like, we probably neither of us have put it on the list.
I know
but
it's
it should be at
tricky.
the top.
We'll go through other films in the list that we've probably missed and things and the reasons why we don't have them in the list. Because I just went down a list and just put star. I did a whole whatever I could do to just
finished about 30 films, and I just whittled it down to 5 that being kind of obvious ones I didn't want to miss off, and then just little ones films that I remember having an effect on me as a
exactly
a burgeoning youth,
Exactly, yeah.
And then really, as I'm looking at it now, I'm thinking I probably shouldn't have put that in, but it's there, so I'm gonna go with it.
Exactly, and I went for the next one that I have in my list is a film exactly that. It's not a good film. People don't like this film. It was badly reviewed. It wasn't. It was a remake of an old 1950s movie, but it is something that I just loved watching because I felt very excited as a kid, and it was Narrow Margin.
Oh, I nearly put that in.
With Gene Hackman.
Yeah. Gene Hackman, yeah.
And Ann Archer.
You see magic, Michael. No, you don't understand, Liam. Don't be afraid. I would never harm you. Oh, Michael, I lied.
The woman was in the other room. She saw everything. Everything. Nobody knew about her, and they still don't. You were witness to a murder, and we'd like you to come back and testify.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think you realize the situation you're in.
I'll take my chances.
You get on the train, lock the door. Those two guys, they got automatic weapons. They've seen me. They might not have seen you. They might not know what you look like.
How do we stop him?
We don't. It's not going to take him very long to find his compartment.
This is my life we're dealing with.
How much does a deputy district attorney make in a year? I don't like people like you. I know we're going to find her. It's just a matter of time. Do you really think you can get her off this train? Get who? These guys are professionals, and if they see you, they're going to kill you. Grab the handrail! Get on the roof!
Gene Hackman.
I have to make my move before they make theirs.
Ann Archer.
I'm scared standing here.
Sometimes the difference between life and death is a narrow margin.
The reason it caught me so I very fondly remember. I mean, Gene Hackman was probably one of my favorite actors in the 90s anyway. He couldn't step a foot wrong. Apart from comedies, there were a few comedies that he kind of appeared in that weren't really, but we could talk about that when we get to them. But Narrow Margin, it's a story about a woman who witnesses a murder. She then has to be on witness protection, so she's off hiding, and so Gene Hackman has to go pick her up and bring her to court, or bring her to the justice place where they serve justice. And so he is in charge of just bringing her. It seems like an open shut case, but then when he gets there, the criminals are already after her. They're going to go and silence her because what she saw was just, it's going to ruin them. So, and it becomes a cat and mouse chase, and most of it's on a train. Not all. Yeah. Most of it's on a train. It's kind of just that. I just love that kind of film noir-esque kind of feel about it. Running on the train, a woman who's very headstrong thinks she knows that she can handle it and realizes that she does need help in the end, and just getting to that final act where you just don't know if they're going to get there. And there is genuine jeopardy in this movie, and it's great. And I don't know why it was slammed. I thought it was a very well put together film. I thought it was tense. It never really got boring. I enjoyed it. Interesting side characters, but anything on a train. I think anything on a train is kind of interesting to a certain degree. Even bad movies on trains.
Yeah, even Under Siege 2.
Oh, yeah, well, actually, Under Siege 2 could very well be the worst train movie ever.
Worst train movie.
Although
you mentioned train films, this is not 90s, but have you ever seen a film called Unstoppable? Denzel Washington and Chris Pine.
I have, yes. That's a good one.
And look, that's a good film. That's a good film.
That is a good film. There's the was it Train of Terror or something with Hugh Grant, which was actually quite good. Even though Hugh Grant is in it as a main character, I actually found it watchable. You look like you got your hands stuck in a.
No, put it on the heater because it's
so
freezing.
cold. Are you like your lips are blue, man?
I'll be honest, I died about 5 days ago. This is just a reanimated corpse.
It's an AI. Okay. So yeah, my second pick is Narrow Margin. You can't go wrong with Gene Hackman in the 90s.
Well, full stop, really. Gene Hackman is he's another one. You know, we talk a lot about safe actors. I think Gene Hackman is a safe actor.
He is a safe actor. Even when he is evil, dark and menacing, you still kind of think, yeah, it's Gene Hackman though, isn't it? It's still.
Watch a film called Heartbreakers with Jennifer Love Hewitt in it and Kevin. Oh, he was in all the Kevin Smith films.
Oh,
I forget his name now. Sigourney Weaver's in it as well. He's in it. So Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt play these the sort of con artists, and they get people to fall in love with them. They get them about to get married, or they just get married, and then they fake one of them trying to flirt or sleep with the person they get married to, get them drunk so they think they've done something wrong when they haven't, and then they divorce them and take all the money off them. And they keep doing this to people, and it's about that. But it's like it's a comedy. It's a bit fluffy, but Gene Hackman's in it, and they try and get Gene Hackman. So Gene Hackman plays this smoking baron, and he's horrible. He's a horrible person, but he's absolutely hilarious in it. He's so funny. Like, talk about getting kids hooked on, once the kids have stopped throwing up, they couldn't get off the fags. Sorry, I shouldn't say fags, cigarettes. And he's like an awful, evil person, but he's so funny in the film. It's really good. I don't know why I just started thinking about that.
It's funny because he's, I think in his later years especially, he started to kind of become more character actor. He started to do a little bit more with himself rather than just being Gene Hackman in a role. Because pretty much most movies are Gene Hackman in a role doing this, but always good. But yeah.
What I love when actors start to get into the twilight of the years is where they just don't care anymore. And
they just have to just play.
Right?
They just want to play.
They'll go, yeah, I'll do a comedy. I don't care. You know what I mean? I just want to do what I want to do now. And it's kind of a liberating thing to watch.
The last movie he was in was Welcome to Mooseport. I mean, that's not a good movie, but he probably had a whale of a time on it. He probably had fun, and he probably thinks, yeah, that's it. I don't need to do any more. He didn't have to chase the dragon. He didn't have to chase. I mean, I'm saying it as if he's already passed, but he's not going to be making any more movies now. He's enjoying his retirement. He's written books, but yeah,
certain actors get level, don't they, where they just take a film, just it doesn't matter. Like, I remember saw an interview with Michael Caine and saying, look, Jaws 3D is renowned for being one of the worst films ever made. What do you think? What have you ever seen? He goes, no, I've never seen it, but I've seen the house that I bought my mum, and it's lovely. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's about the paycheck sometimes, and we got, and And yeah, sometimes that is a slap in the face of the person who buys the ticket, thinking that they're getting something, but it's not always the case. There's something in every film. If it not, some films are just not for you, like Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Yeah, it could be revisited. That could be a cult classic.
Yeah. So what's next on your list, man?
All right, so I'm going to give you a quote, and you're going to tell me what it is.
No.
I'm not sure whether to do the accent, though. This is a snake green jacket, and for me, it's a symbol of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom.
Oh, Peanut. He calls us
Peanut. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Peanut.
David Lynch is wild at heart. Of course, I had to pick a David Lynch film.
It's in my list.
I knew it would be.
I watched it again last night.
Right, okay. How do I? Well, it's Lynch, isn't it? So I'm predisposed to enjoy it anyway. But again, it's only Lynch could make this kind of. So it's sort of like a Bonnie and Clyde kind of film, isn't it? But
Very
with
much so, yeah.
yeah, but with a Lynch twist, with Wizard of Oz and Elvis Presley in it.
In life, you never know what's going to come along next. And there's very tender moments, and then there's very violent moments, and then there's confusion and despair, and then suddenly you're in love. So there's got to be room for all these things, in a film.
Who else would make a film like that?
Nobody.
Did you know that Lynch only ever intended to produce the film, but then he read Guilford's book, and then he thought, no, I'm writing and directing this as well. He's like, couldn't leave it alone. Because Lynch, he falls in love with ideas, doesn't he?
He does. Ideas are like fish. It's like catching fish, and once he's caught that fish, he runs with it. And he did say to the writer beforehand, he says, you better you do realize that if this is any good, I might want to direct it. And
yeah.
He was like, yeah, well, go ahead. And then he calls up and says,
this is really good. I really want to direct it.
That's not the accent, but
on the face of it, yeah. as a lot of Lynch films are, it's a simple premise. Nicolas Cage's character, Sailor Ripley, gets released from prison after killing somebody, and he goes on run with Lula Fortune. I think her name's Lula Fortune.
Lula Pace Fortune. She's a Pisces.
And they go on the road from Lula's domineering mother, and she hires a load of criminals to basically kill Sailor. And that's basically the premise of the film, but it didn't get received very well when it came out. And a lot of people didn't like the sexual nature to the film and how violent it was.
Yeah.
But again, like a lot of Lynch stuff, it was ahead of its time. And
it really was ahead of its time. And of course, this is kind of at the same time that Twin Peaks came out. So people were not ready for Lynch. They, like you say, he was ahead of his time because he can make stuff like this. But yeah, it was pretty violent. It was pretty.
There's a who's who of David Lynch films in it, really, isn't there?
Pretty much. I mean, you do see. Oh, I've forgotten his name. Jack Nance. Jack Nance is in it.
Jack Nance. Cheryl Lee's in it.
Cheryl Lee Shelfan as well as the girl who dies in his arms. Very touching moment, that, really touching moment. Crispin Glover was a big surprise for me.
I totally forgot he was in it. Yeah.
But what's amazing, there's a guy on YouTube who does an incredible David Lynch impression. He managed to find somebody who did an incredible Crispin Glover impression, and they did some videos together.
Crispin, always a pleasure. What can I do you for?
Well, David, I'm going to direct a new movie.
That's great, Crispin. What's it about?
Well, remember my last film was about people with Down syndrome? Well, this time, all the actors are going to have irritable bowel syndrome.
I like what I'm hearing. When do you start production?
Well, here's the thing. We're looking for De Niro.
De Niro? Can you get him?
No, David. That's Spanish. We're looking for money, moolah, funding.
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that. How much do you need?
$4 million.
I'll give you $300.
Oh, perfect.
Crispin, I want you to have something.
Is that a squirrel?
No. It's a penguin. Now you go out there and make the best irritable bowel syndrome actor movie of all time.
I will, David. I will.
It's a brilliant film, isn't it?
It really is. It's
it's dark and
it still holds up.
Difficult.
Though. It's Natural Born. It reminded me of Natural Born Killers as well.
Yeah. The thing I've always had with Natural Born Killers to me was there's a certain element of style over substance with that film.
Very much so.
Because of very much, it's like it's colour, it's black and white, it's this, it's that, it's that. and they kind of try and shoot it in a weird. It's like a fake documentary thing as well. You know what I mean? With the way it's Oliver Stone's directed, very bizarre.
Oliver Stone likes texture, a lot of texture, and he, like I say, his style over substance, and this. You could argue just basically tells us it's like an anthology as well, because they tell stories as the movie goes along.
Weirdly, when he made the Straight Story with the dude on the lawnmower, which we'll probably get to in this decade, it's quite similar, where it's just a trip across America. And wherever they land, things happen. And it's the same thing with the Straight Story, but Straight Story's got less boobs in it. It was made for Disney.
Yeah. I love the Straight Story. It was probably the only film that my wife and my mother could watch of David Lynch's and actually understand and enjoy, you know?
One of my... Well, we shouldn't really talk about it now, because we'll get to it later in this series. But yeah, one of my favourite two people talking about Vietnam scenes ever, where you don't hear a thing they're saying, they're just talking about it, and you hear in the background all the explosions going off that's now, and it's absolutely heartbreaking, and you don't hear a thing they're saying. Oh God, Lynch is good.
Perfect.
Wow. So yeah, what a film. Yeah, it's probably my favorite on my list. Maybe, probably is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's high. It's high up there. I don't seek it out too often.
It's not an easy watch.
It's not an easy.
You have to build yourself up to watch it, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much with a lot of Lynch things. I mean, we threatened about doing a marathon of David Lynch films, but how wrecked we would be by the end of it.
Oh well, my mate Matt lives in London, and he's a big Lynch fan. And one of the independent cinemas in London were doing an all-night Lynch, start with Eraserhead all the way to his last film, every single one.
Wow.
He's like, "Are we doing it?" And I'm like, "I don't know if I can, man. I'm not sure I could get through." I mean, some of them are hard to get through. Like, I loved them so much, but to end on Inland Empire and then walking out and it being light and doing that all night, I'm not sure that's good for anyone's mental health.
Yeah, Inland Empire is another thing. That is not a movie. That is an experience. That is it's incredible in its own way, but it's...
Yeah, I've watched it a couple of times, and I've attempted to watch it a dozen times and not finished it. It's a hard film to get through.
It's very long.
It is. It's like 2.5 hours, isn't it? Yeah. So, okay. My number 3, completely going sideways, is Frank Marshall's directorial debut. I'll give you John Goodman as one of the actors in it. If I give you the main guy, you'll get it straight away.
Arachnophobia. I thought you were going to say Gremlins 2, but he was executive producer of that, not director, and John Goodman wasn't in that. So I had to work my head around that.
I was arguing myself. I nearly put Gremlins 2 in this list.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Arachnophobia was kind of like my second list. Possible.
I know it's kind of obvious, but I have to be honest to myself about films that I watched from the 90s that I love. And when I watched them, it just brings back nostalgia and happy memories for me. And this film is definitely one of them. Again, it's up very much like Tremors. It's a disaster film. It starts subtle.
Falling off his chair, buddy.
And it builds and builds and builds. And it's just a great film. It's got tension in it. John Goodman's hilarious in it. I think, if anything, it's sort of like, it's very much like The Birds, Hitchcock's The Birds. It's like that. It's got that feeling to it. You know what I mean? And Spielberg was involved with it. I mean, he was one of the early producers. And I think Amblin Entertainment received production credit on it and that. So I think, like I say, Spielberg, it feels like a Spielberg film when you watch it.
The Jennings family has just moved to the small town of Canaima.
Oh, Ross, smell that air. Oh, God.
In search of a simpler life.
Want to blow up a bullfrog? Okay.
It's the perfect place.
Goodbye crime, goodbye grime.
Except for one pesky little problem.
Come with me and look at the web.
The web?
I have a
Terrible fear of spiders. Come on, we live in the country now. It's time to work through this irrational, paralyzing terror.
It's not irrational.
Hollywood Pictures and Amblin Entertainment present Jeff Daniels
Honey, we're in the living room. We need you to kill a spider.
and John Goodman.
Bill McClintock, Infestation Management.
I thought it's just a spider.
Would anybody object if I tore this floor out?
I would.
False alarm, then lead on. There's no spider here.
Every so often in a little town somewhere, there is a health scare.
There's a rumor going around that some kind of spider might have killed Sam Metcalf.
Doubtful.
Spiders make convenient culprits.
There's no spider here.
I think one of your Venezuelan spiders hitched a ride here.
There may be some spiders around here that are very dangerous.
Dad, chill out.
Just run.
They spread out from a central nest in a web-like pattern and dominate the entire area. When that happens, this town is dead.
Better uncork my private stock.
Rock and roll!
Hollywood Pictures and Amblin Entertainment present Arachnophobia. 8 legs, 2 fangs, and an attitude.
Perk up, Lloyd. If we find the spider that did this, you can arrest him.
Arachnophobia, a thrill-omedy.
Jeff Daniels. I mean, Jeff Daniels is a real phenomenal talent. He's actually a very accomplished musician as well, which...
Have you seen that recently when he played that song that he wrote on some chat?
Kelly Clarkson, I think, wasn't it? The Kelly
Yeah,
Clarkson
it was like, it's like a beautiful song. It was like
beautiful.
It's okay. You don't have to be any good.
Okay.
You know?
That's any time I pick up a guitar. So.
But it's that thing you do when you're sitting on your porch with just your best friend, the guitar, and you want to write like a love song to the guitar.
Okay.
You were there when I was falling. You were there when I fell in love. You were there when I was thinking through all them things I was thinking of. You were always right beside me, never out of sight. You turned my never-evers into maybe I just might. Your pearly gates fly open when I bow my head and pray. My thunder turns to lightning, you rain sunshine on my day. When that melody's in me, I can hear your choir sing. When my fingers find your strings.
What is happening?
Yeah. It's that. Do you know what? 2 things have just sent shivers down my spine. That remembering that song, and the spiders in this movie. It's like Jeff. It's not the spiders. It's Jeff Daniels. It's him.
Jeff Daniels, forever known as the spine tingler.
I can't wait till we get to speed. So yeah, Julian Sands was in this movie, and of course we know he died very recently. But I love Julian Sands in a lot of '90s movies. He was great. And was it Warlock? I think that kind of I think that was the 80s,
of course,
actually.
yeah.
But yeah, in this one, it's the way he says spiders that caught me off guard with him. It's like spiders. It's like oh, you got a bit of an accent going on there. What's going on there?
Well, the brilliance of having Jeff Daniels' character being terrified of spiders and being the person who's to saw it is so great, because in those bits when he's frozen in terror, you're frozen in terror watching it.
Yes.
In fact, have you heard of the Saturn Awards?
I have heard of the Saturn Awards.
Yeah, well, this won the best horror film in the Saturn Awards, and also Jeff Daniels won the best actor.
That's great. I mean, yeah, you can sell it if you cast it right. You can sell the horror, and of course, I mean, spiders are a real fear.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a giant huntsman leap from a curtain and hit me, not hit me in the face, but kind of just bashed me on the shoulder, and I was like, okay, I'm getting out of here. It wasn't very well apparently, but it was female, so we had to bug bomb the whole house. This was over in Australia.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
And it was like, yeah, you just think, the reason why we bug bomb was the fact that she was a female spider. she may have laid thousands and thousands of eggs. And it's when you think of that and remember this movie, you don't want to be in that house when that happens, when they start erupting.
And the tension that some of the tension in this film is absolutely palpable, isn't it? It's when I think is it a lady sat down watching TV and you can just see it scurrying about, and it goes on the lampshade, and she puts her hand and it just drops on the lampshade, because they're not huge spiders. Well, some of them they do end up being, but some of them are quite small, not too big. You know,
they don't have to be big.
No, that's the beauty of it. But that amazing part at the end where it's like the face off with the big spider, the mummy spider, and there's that close up to the spider, and you can see all the eyes, and it's just like it's watching him, and it's like, oh my god, Jaws with 8 legs, it's great. 18, I think, was it 15 or like a 12A?
I think it's a PG, man.
PG.
I think it was a PG-13 in America, so I think.
Yeah, you're right, PG. Thank God.
Exactly.
So a child pick this film up from Blockbusters that doesn't exist anymore and take it home. Mommy, I'm going to watch this lovely film about some cute spiders. It's like Charlotte's Web.
When Daddy Spider loves a mummy spider, basically the daddy spider jerks off into his hand and then he goes to the mummy spider and puts the hand inside her.
Yeah, that's got some really terrifying parts in it.
It does.
Well, yeah, that's my number 3.
And well deserved for sure. Okay, I'm gonna go with a more obvious one, and it is horror, because I still think this is probably one of the best horror films that came out in 1990. Even that above. Oh, I don't know why I didn't put it above Santa Sangre, but Exorcist 3.
Death, be not proud, nor canst thou kill me. Satan grows stronger.
You believe in possession, Father?
He has found a haven.
Come to take a little blood from you, Father.
He has taken possession.
The boy had been crucified.
His web widens.
I've just never seen anything like this in 20 years.
Inside this cell,
The killer drove an ingot into each of his eyes and cut off his head.
inside a man.
Who are you? I am the one.
A man we thought had died 17 years ago.
He is inside with us! He will never get away!
The Exorcist 3.
Wow, okay. I nearly put this in my list as well, but I thought you would, so I left it.
Yeah, I kind of, I wondered if you would or not, but I kind of like, maybe not. But we've talked about it before, so we won't go in too far. Brad Dourif, and oh my gosh, and all of a sudden the movie's his. It's like passing the torch over, but the torch is actually cursed. It's a fucking amazing film. And it's atmospheric. It really kind of pushes away Exorcist 2 into non-existence.
Thank God.
Thank goodness. You know, Linda Blair isn't in it. She didn't need to be in it. That's how you do a sequel.
Yes.
It's a banger of a sequel, and I absolutely love that movie.
Listen up, Alien Romulus.
It did well, but it didn't need to. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know everyone talks about this, but got one of cinema's all-time greatest jump scares as well.
Yeah, it's great.
Takes its time. There's just that one locked-off shot of that corridor. My God, have you ever jumped as hard in your life? The time you see that scene,
it is amazing because you just I love the time it takes, and they don't do that anymore. It's just not done. You know, that kind of tension. But it's the big bone cutters, those massive shears that appear and the way that the murders are handled as well in this movie are incredible. It's such an inspiration from Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and kind of in the era of Seven. Seven pretty much, will most likely be in this list somewhere in the 90s. But it's just one of those great films, and I do like to revisit this.
I try and make a point to watch The Exorcist once a year, probably around about this time when we're getting up to Halloween.
On your birthday.
And on my birthday, just
birthday.
We watched one of the versions. It wasn't the theatrical version, and it wasn't the director's cut, but one of those other weird versions are out there, and it was just. I actually didn't enjoy it as much.
Really?
I'm thinking, I don't like this version.
Yeah, because I still can't really tell the difference between the versions. I know there's one that has more subliminal...
Yeah, one with the spider coming down the stairs bit.
That one, yeah. Which is fun.
So it didn't have that in it, but it had extra bits in it. I don't remember what version it was now, but I remember thinking,
was it the walk and talk version?
It was.
There's a lot more walking and talking.
Yeah, there was a bit of that going on, yeah. But I still, I've obviously Exorcist, one of the greatest films of all time. So
exactly, but it shows it can be ruined if you edit it wrong. If there's a bad cut out there, it can ruin your film.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get the right version of The Exorcist, it feels like, and in some respects, Exorcist 3, it's like there's something wrong with the film.
Yeah,
film's cursed. Something in the fabric of the celluloid. It's something evil in there. It's something evil in there. It's and you don't want to. You want to destroy it so that it doesn't hurt anybody else. When truly great horror films do that, and the very good, brilliant version of The Exorcist, and Exorcist 3, I think, in some respects, does that. Anyway, well, I had a random one for my last one, but I think I might bring it round to talk about this for my fourth one. I only picked this because we were going to do an episode on spoof film. So while we're talking about possession films, it's Linda Burr, Ned Neaty, and Leslie Nielsen's Repossessed.
I can't believe you went there, man. I looked at that movie and I thought, I do remember it. It was funny. It was a lot better than Scary Movie.
Oh, yeah, and Scary Movie tried to parody the Exorcist films and did it badly.
In 1973, an entire world watched as a little girl and a holy exorcist battled and cast out the devil himself. But now...
I think Nancy has been... repossessed.
And this is the only man who could possibly save her. Leslie Nielsen.
I couldn't hide my butt with both my hands.
Linda Blair.
God created man in his own image.
Then how do you explain Pee Wee Herman?
This is in America, the ultimate confrontation of good against evil.
Repossessed. Coming soon.
Father Jediah Mal casts out the devil from the body of young Nancy Aglett, and then she gets possessed again while watching the Ernest and Fanny Miracle Hour, and that's it. It's like a parody on Exorcist films, and it's
the kind of parody film that we would have made if we had the chance. And I think that's the thing. It's really accessible.
It is. It's accessible. It's Leslie Nielsen before he started going a bit insane. You know what I mean? And it's fun. And come on, they beat the devil with rock and roll music at the end. What can be wrong with that?
It's
yeah.
yeah.
And also, it's got a little bit to say. I'm not saying it's going to go right down there, but it's got a lot to say about.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, but it's got a lot to say about televangelism and that, because they try and, make it into an event, don't they? Where they try and publicly exercise it, and it's all on TV and everyone's watching it,
Late night with the
And
devil.
so it's got a little bit to say. It's got a little bit of a cultural thing to say.
Yeah.
So I'll give it kudos for that. But it's funny.
Not impressed, huh? Well, how about if I make the film break?
That was my little, apart from the last one I'll end up talking about, that was my little random thing.
But this ties in because I'm sure that we both have the same film.
The last one?
I know we
I
have
highly
the same film.
doubt. Oh, we won't. Definitely not. Go on.
So it's...
What's your last one?
I went for Gremlins 2 because I just love Gremlins.
Oh!
Frickin' 2. I love it. It wasn't
Great.
yours?
No, brilliant.
It wasn't yours, though?
No, it's not.
No,
I nearly did. I wanted to put Gremlins 2 in, but... Right, so Gremlins 2 and Exorcist 3, I thought one of us will do that.
Yeah.
And I trusted you. So I went for... Well, I'm not going to go on about it, but one of our favourite actresses in our entire life is in my last film, and that's one of the reasons why I went for it.
Deborah Winger?
No.
Oh.
But we'll get there. But go on.
There. Yeah, well, Gremlins 2 is more than just a sequel to Gremlins. It is its own thing.
Remember the last time we told you not to feed them after midnight? We told you to keep them away from the light. And the most important warning of all, we told you to never, ever get them wet. You didn't listen.
They're mutating.
Sir, is the building on fire?
No, that's a false alarm.
Are you trying to panic New York City?
Absolutely not.
So the monsters are real?
I didn't say that.
Gremlins 2. The new batch.
Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
It is.
And
yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't.
It's kind of the Alien to Alien.
Yeah, in a way, yes, very much so. It takes it to a much larger landscape. It's a big, it's like little folk trying to just have a normal, run normal life, in the first film, to a big megalopolis. Corporate.
Oh, mate, can we link a YouTube video into this now?
Possibly, yes. Yeah, give me the link and I'll...
It's a. I don't know if you've ever watched Key and Peele speeches, right? Key and Peele sketches, rather. This is brilliant. It's a pitch meeting about Gremlins 2, and then this exec comes in, and it's amazing. Just watch it. You'll love this.
Hang on.
Okay, guys. Gremlins 2. I'm telling you, this movie should write itself. The first one was a classic. This should be pretty straightforward. Basically, all we're doing is maintaining the integrity of the original picture. We want to do all the stuff with the water and the... Can we help you?
I'm sorry. Let me introduce myself. Hi, y'all. My name is Star Magic Jackson Jr. I'm the Hollywood sequel doctor. So studio just brings me in to oversee things when they about to drop a deuce. So that's why I'm here, but don't mind me. I'm just gonna be over here. Y'all do your thing. It's your movie.
Okay.
So that's Jordan.
Adam.
Got it.
If it's going to take place in an office building, I was thinking, what if Gizmo gets wet from a water cooler this time?
Okay, hold on a second. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to step in here just 1 second, sweetheart. So what's wrong with y'all? Y'all looking like a bunch of sad sacks. This is G2, people. We're writing Gremlins 2. It should be a party with pizza and anchovies, pineapple. Just Come on, lift up the spirits. Look, okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of spice into the mixture here. What if we did this? Everybody gets to design their own gremlin.
I don't see that the gremlin design is broken.
It's called brainstorming, not brain drizzling, sweet pea, okay? Shut your mouth for a second. Look, here's the thing. None of this is final.
So you mean, like, what if there was, like, a brainy gremlin?
A brainy gremlin.
You talking about a gremlin with glasses who could talk and sing New York, New York? That's brilliant. It's in the movie done.
Whoa, you said that nothing was final.
That was before I heard the words brainy and gremlin in the same sentence together. It's done, I love it, it's in the movie next.
What about a spider gremlin?
You mean a gremlin with 8 legs and a thorax just catching pretty ladies in a web in an office building? Oh my God, it's in the movie, I love it! Next!
What about a bat gremlin?
You mean a gremlin with leathery wings just flying around, flip-flopping, bust through a wall, make a perfect bat symbol in the wall, get outside, get in some wet concrete, jump up on a building and just dry in place like a gargoyle gremlin? We are cooking with gas now. I love it. It's in the movie next. Could there be a female gremlin? Lipstick, boobies, bitch, you have me and little gremlin vajayjay. I love it so much that it's not only in the movie, but it's definitely in the movie. There's no backsies on that one, no penny taxis. Yes, 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 in the movie, done. That's why we need a woman in the writer's room. Next.
I don't know. Flea-eyed gremlin?
But you do know, because you talking about a gremlin whose sole purpose in this film is just that he looks stupid as fuck. Yes, it can be in the movie, and it is in the movie. Done. Next. What about you, Silver Fox?
Electricity gremlin?
You just said noun and gremlin, like you playing Mad Libs. You just like a child. You have the brain of a child. You do not have a high IQ, but you haphazardly came up with a gremlin that's just made out of bolts that is zigzagging all over the room and is done completely in animation. You a crazy person, and your idea's in the movie. Done. Next.
Can we put the Hulkster in it?
What? You talking about putting Hulk Hogan, professional wrestler, turned actor, turned cultural icon in the movie where he break the fourth wall of the movie he's in by talking to the audience. You, sir, are a raging psychopath. Don't let this town take that away from you. That's it. I don't even care anymore. We got the Hulkster in this bitch, so it's done. I don't have any more time. So let me just recap right now. It's brainy gremlin, spider gremlin, bat gremlin, lady gremlin, googly eye gremlin, electricity gremlin. Hulk Hogan's gonna be in the picture. I'm gonna throw in a gremlin myself. Vegetable gremlin, just write it up. I'm having so much fun, thank you. It's all gonna be in the actual film. Now I gotta go put some Cowboys and Back to the Future 3. Sayonara, y'all. Oops.
Now, okay, you guys know that none of that is going to be in the actual movie.
Boom.
How good's that? Now that, who was doing all that, Jordan Peele, who did, like, you know, Get Out and, you know, and Us and stuff.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it is one of those movies. It does throw everything in, and I can imagine a meeting just like that. You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, people can say, oh, maybe they went too far. Maybe they could have pulled back. But no, this is not Gremlins isn't about that. The first one was definitely a kind of a creature flick.
Yeah. It's kind of like, the first one is more horror adjacent, really, where this one isn't all that scary.
Yeah.
It's just like throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. It's a brilliant film.
Exactly. And I think when the audience goes into the spirit of it like that, great. I mean, imagine if they did that with Star Wars. Imagine the rage if they'd done Phantom Menace as kind of like crazy, zany character aliens. Hang on, that's what they did.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shit.
Imagine if you took the beloved Star Wars, but you put extra things in it that weren't there before. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. And then putting too much in there that it seems so overweight and floppy that you don't know what's going on, but you have to kind of really try and realize that there's really nothing going on. And Natalie Portman. You know, and that's it. But Gremlins. Yeah, it's definitely one of my fast favorites, and can't beat it.
No, you can't. It's brilliant. It's such fun. I mean, Gizmo watching Rambo and putting the thing around his head and stuff, and getting a little toy car. It's absolutely genius. It's so good.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it spawned the animated series as well. Came out as well for a short while, and I think it was just a smart move to just break from the monotony. I mean, imagine what could have happened. I mean, they could have had Gremlins, and then following it up with another creature feature film that was done in the same vein. Then they probably would have made about 5 more. But did you notice they didn't? They stopped at 2. They didn't. There are no other Gremlins movies out there, right?
No, there is talk though, isn't there, of them making?
Of course, there's always talk. There has been talk ever since Gremlins 2, and they're not because they can't agree. Since Gremlins 2 came out, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Gremlins 2 is a perfect. It's a 1-2 sequence. It's Gremlins 1, Gremlins 2. That's it. No more, because they've done what they needed to do.
Yeah, where can you go with it? I mean, Gremlins in space.
Jinx.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jinx.
Oh, brilliant.
We're so on the same page.
We are, mate. Brilliant. Oh, yeah, brilliant film, yeah. I mean, I'm glad you picked it, because I nearly did.
But what did you pick?
Right, okay, then. So, are we ready? Right, okay, so release date, August the 17th, 1990.
Summer blockbuster.
It's got Steve Martin in it. It's got Rick Moranis in it. It's got Joan Cusack in it. The film is My Blue Heaven.
No!
Former gangster Vincent Vinny Antonelli
I'm a new man.
is being placed under federal protection.
Not the old me.
Hidden in suburbia,
This is the new me.
assigned his own personal FBI agent.
Now, this is a real nice house. It's one of the nicest we've ever moved anyone like you into.
Hey, Linda, what do you think? I always promised you a nice house somewhere in America.
Let's not get carried away, okay, Vinny?
It's gonna be a lot easier if you two start calling each other Terry and Todd.
It's a nice house, Terry, okay?
No, you're Terry and he's Todd.
When Wilfer will call. Thanks for everything. I really appreciate it. And even if night.
This is my job. I get paid. You don't tip FBI men.
Sure you do. That leads you to my blue heaven.
The man is a government asset. He has to testify at 2 major mob trials in New York in the immediate future.
Being in the witness protection program may save Vinny's life.
Boom. I just want you to keep your nose clean. Capiche?
You trying to say capiche?
Yeah.
Well, don't do it, because it hurts my ears when you do it.
But who's going to save the suburbs from Vinny?
You know, it's dangerous for you to be here in the frozen food section.
Why is that?
Because you could melt all this stuff.
The comedy that asks the question, can an urban hood find suburban hood?
Would you like to try a vanilla bran oat crunchie?
What do you think?
Steve Martin, Rick Moranis.
Have a nice day. Up yours.
Yeah, you didn't think I was going to say that, did you?
Do you know what? I didn't. I have not watched that.
Wow. Okay. Well, this film stars Steve Martin as Vinny Antonelli or something like that. He's a former mobster who's been put into the witness protection program and goes to live in the suburbs and has to sort of try and keep it quiet and keep it low and not be mobster-like while he's living in this suburbs. And obviously Rick Moranis is there as this his wife's Joan Cusack in it.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant comedy, fish out of water comedy. And it's like Vinny and Barney. Rick Moranis plays Barney, and they sort of can't stand each other, but they end up sort of finding common ground. That the wives have left them, and Linda heads back to New. You know, it's a real gem of a film. It's a real gem of a film. It's got all the white picket fences. It's all beautiful, and Steve Martin never loses this Italian. Hey, what you doing? Hey, are you all right over there? You know, he's got that whole swagger about him, the whole thing. Wears the brilliant suits all the time.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
There's a great bit where he's trying to adjust to suburban life. Vinny easily slips into sort of this dishonest ways. Like he finds a price gun. I remember this, and he sees the price of everything. He ain't got that much. You know, he's a mobster, so he had millions, and now he's having to live on witness protection money. I remember him. He can't stick on the straight and narrow, and he gets like a price gun, so he just changes the price on it, so everything's like dirt cheap. And price everything up and fills his supermarket. And then when he goes to supermarkets to check out, everyone is so nice that they don't even question the price. They look at him and think, that's a bit weird. And he puts all this stuff into that he buys, and it costs like $20, where it should be hundreds. You know what I mean? And it's an absolute gem of a film. I think you would absolutely love it, Steve. That was my last thing. So again, it's another one of those Sky TV films I watched that I just on, and I loved that. I thought it was funny. I love Rick Moranis because of Ghostbusters and Little Shop of Horrors, and it's a little out
era just after Honey, I Shrunk the Kids as well. So Rick Moranis was kind of
he was still hot right now.
Still hot, still banking it, man, banking it, not tanking it. Yeah, cool. So let's think.
Let's talk about arguably the best film. 1990 is Goodfellas. Goodfellas came out in 1990.
One of Scorsese's best.
I mean, it's one of the greatest films ever made. But that's one of the films that no matter what point it is in, if I come home from a gig or whatever, and Goodfellas is on, no matter what point in the film it's on, I'll watch it to the end of the film. It's that good.
It is. But it transcends the film list. It
transcends 1990. Yeah. It's one of those films where you don't think of it being, one of those films that came out in 1990, Goodfellas. It's just a film that transcends time.
Yes.
It's perfect. It's a perfect film.
It is its own thing, and it's got so much going for it.
One of my favourite things was Scorsese was talking about, he was being interviewed and he was saying, why this ongoing relationship, what makes De Niro so good? And he said, so there was this big scene, you know, the bloke in Goodfellas with the wig, who owes money, and he's like got the gift of the gab. Yeah, and De Niro hates him, doesn't he? You know, when they're in the bar, and there was this whole scene where there was this big dialogue about what was going to happen. They were going to get him in the car and kill him, weren't they? That's what happens, is they murder him.
Yeah.
There was this whole huge scene of dialogue, and they're in the bar, and so this is like, I'm paraphrasing Scorsese now, but Scorsese like asked why he's so good, and said De Niro just looked at him. Right.
Summer's gone, and all the roses dark.
It's just a look, and he said, in that one thing, De Niro's expression, there was no need for this next scene. He said, because the way he looked, the way he just had this expression that he stared at this guy like I fucking hate this guy, you know. He said that was it. It's the next scene just because of this one expression, this one thing that De Niro did. And he said that, he goes, and that was why De Niro's so good. He can do that. Wow. Right, quickly then, because I'm teaching shortly. Jackie Chan Corner?
Yes! Jackie Chan Corner.
Forgot about it.
No, we didn't.
Right.
I'm Jackie Chan.
Welcome to the Jackie Chan Corner with Andy Lewin. Ready?
Action.
Fight.
De Niro, wow. Dustin Hoffman. Jackie Chan.
I'm Jackie Chan.
Right, so Jackie Chan. The only film he released in 1990 is odd, right? It's a film called City on Fire, which he is just, he has a little small part in it. It's not a big film at all. And it's more of, The Great Escape, like Steve McQueen was put in that film to make it sell.
Yeah, okay.
Well, City on Fire, Jackie Chan was put in this film as like a little cameo to make it sell. So it's basically about, there's a prison run by corrupt wardens, and a policeman infiltrates the prison to find out what's going on with the corruption. Jackie Chan is another inmate who's just put in that film to basically sell it, I think. It's got a stellar lineup, so Jackie Chan's in it, Sammo Hung's in it, Tony Leung's in it, and Andy Lau's in it. I think it's Tony Leung who plays the cop.
Gotcha.
He gets put in prison. He's like, his future father-in-law was murdered. But he actually, so what's happening is inside this prison, these prisoners are found to have been murdered, but they then turn up as assassins. And this police goes in there to sort of find out what's going on, and that's kind of what the film's about. Jackie Chan's put in there. He has a fight scene in it with someone with a switchblade who sort of stabs him, and he's just put in that film to I think sell it. So was probably Sammo Hung in it. It's like an all-star cast. There's something to be said that they think that the main stars of the film, the talent, were put in it because the director got in some financial problems with triads and made this film to try and make some money, and a lot of these people did this film to try and help this director out to get him some money so he can pay off debts that he owed. That's the kind of thing behind it.
Okay.
So on the Jackie Chan chart that I've just made up, it gets 2 Chans out of 10, maybe 3. It's an all right film. It's got drama in it. But as a Jackie Chan vehicle, no. It's just he's just put in it. You'll enjoy it because it's entertainment and it's entertaining. It's worth to go, and but it's not a classic film. So yeah, I give it 3 out of 10 Chans. There we go.
There we go.
That was brilliant. I love that. I cannot wait for next week.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, man. I mean, Jackie Chan. Nobody puts Jackie Chan in the corner, but.
No.
You have your own Jackie Chan corner.
I do.
Okay.
What's funny when in the Jackie Chan boom in like the late 90s, when he was like famous in America and doing well, and all the films were coming out. In HMV, they'd have an Asian section and they have a Jackie Chan section in HMV. I used to love it. I'd buy them all on video. And you see the prisoner, and it's his face, Jackie Chan, the prisoner. I'm like, yes, can't wait. He's hardly in it. Really enjoyed this. This has been brilliant. Really, really liked it. So
it's time for us to close up the corner of Jackie Chan. It's time to also say, okay, this is where we. Oh, yeah, you know where to find us, right, Andy?
Yeah, I do. Do you?
Yeah. Well, it just so happens that I do. Do you?
Go for it. I do. YouTube.
We're on YouTube and we also added some subtitles which actually some of them didn't work, so you can watch it on YouTube and have a laugh at the subtitles that didn't gel. We're on Spotify, we're on Audible, you can find us on iTunes, everywhere where you can find podcasts that of a suitable quality. We're there. And and we're not going anywhere soon. So keep watching,
definitely
keep
not.
sharing, keep supporting us. We'll keep doing this, whether you do or don't. So it's all good.
Yeah,
fantastic. So thank you very much, Andy Lewin.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen Radford. It's been great. Loved it.
Okay, cue Tom Cruise.
I feel the need for speed. Ow! Charlie, don't surf.
This is fantasy.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Quit griping.
I like griping.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.